So we're at the beginning of a journey from Kontum in Vietnam to Pakse in Laos. I'm told it's going to be a 10-hour journey. So let's see how we go. It's coming up to 8 o'clock.
Mới có 2 thùng phải không? Thùng gì với thùng gì chú?
Is there going to be any space for human beings in this bus? We've been on the road for 10 minutes. We've already stopped once for 20 minutes. In fact, we haven't been on the road for 10 minutes. So, yeah, the cargo is definitely more important than the passengers on this craft. But we've got one direction to soothe our journey. These buses have absolutely no leg room, and so we booked 2 seats. So you can see the leg room problem here. And even with 2 seats, this is going to be a fairly long day, I think.
And a very long day it was. Despite good roads, it took us 11 hours. In this shot, we're passing the former US Air Base at Tak To, also known as Tan Canh, in just north of Kontum. And this was a very important base during the Vietnam War, bordering as it did on Laos and the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And it was the scene of some very, very serious conflict throughout the war years. Many thousands of lives were lost in fighting around this base. And it's quite bizarre just driving past it now as an abandoned airstrip that still is in pretty good shape. You can see from the video that the road that we travelled on was in very good condition, and it was pretty much all the way to Pakse. There were only a couple of rough patches. The real cause of the delay was the amount of time we spent stopped, picking up and dropping off all kinds of goods that were being carried between Vietnam and Laos. We estimate that we spent between 3 and 4 hours picking up and then delivering. We spotted quite a few of these trucks carrying heavy logs from Laos into Vietnam, and it kind of struck us that as you look around, Vietnam's central highlands have been almost completely deforested. You just don't see any old forest at all. In fact, you barely see any tall trees at all. Things are better in Laos, but by all accounts, the deforestation is gathering pace there as well. And many of the logs end up back in Vietnam. The border process was painless.
This is the border. It's called Ba Y.
We were the only foreigners we spotted crossing the border into Laos on this day, and as soon as we got into Laos, we noticed a big change in the amount of vegetation, and there were some very pretty scenes as well. The last few hours of the journey, it was delivery time. All that stuff that had been loaded in previous hours of the trip at the beginning was now being unloaded.
If you consider all this stuff part of the adventure, it becomes kind of interesting. We're in a sawmill, a Vietnamese sawmill in the middle of Laos. I'm actually just stunned at how much stuff they can fit on this bus.
As we got closer to Pakse, it occurred to me that we had been in Laos for quite a few hours, but we'd only met Vietnamese people. And that wasn't totally surprising because we were travelling on a Vietnamese bus. But it did underscore the long history that Vietnamese have in Laos, dating back, well, at least to French times. The French brought a lot of Vietnamese into Laos, and many of them are still there. Anyway, I joked with these local Vietnamese, Lao Vietnamese if you like, about that, and we had a good laugh. We had a beautiful sunset as we rather belatedly made our way towards Pakse. When we got to Pakse, we experienced some shenanigans at the bus station because we had to then get a minibus into town, and there was a fair bit of dodginess going on there. This is a long trip, it's a long day. It's definitely not for everybody. If you want to experience something different, and there aren't too many tourists travelling this route, then I could recommend it. But be aware that it's a long and interesting, but not always comfortable day. We had a fabulous time in southern Laos though, and there'll be more on that in future videos. See you then.